Hi, I'm Steve Sample with Bama Talk. Don't miss a single episode of Bama Talk Show, available now on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app, and on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.
This is your Weather Xtreme video for Saturday, March the 16th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get right to the Skycam imagery this morning. There's a look at the Alpha Skycam network from ABC 3340, and there's a look at Jasper. And we do have just a slight streak of cirrus clouds on the horizon. We'll see a couple of streaks on the Hamilton Skycam as we look at the rising sunlight coming our way. Surface map shows that much of the weather is going to be off to our north for much of this weekend, as the next weather system is still kind of holding off to push that front down our way. In the upper atmosphere, the reason that frontal system won't get to us over today and tomorrow primarily is because the flow has gone pretty zonal. So we got to wait for the next system to drop in the northern Rockies to actually begin to push things our way. In the meantime, though, things have warmed up nicely across the lower half of the country, and you can see the temperatures at 5 a.m. basically just pretty nice. Actually, 6 a.m., pardon me. And again, across central Alabama, we're generally in the lower 50s. That means some spots getting into the upper 40s. So it's a nice, fairly mild morning across central Alabama. Satellite imagery, of course, indicating that we do see a few high cirrus clouds, so it's going to be a mostly sunny day. Watch warning map, kind of empty this morning. Those reddish pink areas in New Mexico, Florida, and along the South Carolina coast indicate high fire danger, red flag warnings for low humidities. As far as precipitation goes, it looks like much of the precipitation will come Monday afternoon and evening, perhaps as early as late Sunday night with some isolated showers, but it looks like rainfall amounts on the order of 1/2 to 1 inch maximum. Storm Prediction Center has no outlook for slight risk for days 1 and 2, but for day 3, which is Monday, the slight risk extends from eastern Kentucky across parts of eastern and middle Tennessee and down into the northern half of Alabama. And the threat primarily is that of damaging wind, but we'll talk about the parameters in just a minute. All right, let's get to modeling. Here's the 06 EGFS model run. Basically, the high pressure holding things off at the surface, and aloft we stay in a very zonal flow. By Sunday, we still have the zonal flow, but now we're beginning to pick up the development of the upper low over the northern Rockies, and so that digs in to the north central part of the United States into Iowa and Minnesota, Wisconsin area on Monday, and that is when action begins to develop. Now, yesterday we were looking at potentially one low, and it was pretty far north, as the main low is here, but now the GFS is suggesting a secondary low over the Ohio River Valley, so that could improve our parameters for severe weather. By 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning, we do see that the weather is in our vicinity as the front is beginning to come through. Let's take a look at some of those parameters right now, and there's the lifted indice. So instability looks to be pretty good with values on the order of, looks like -6 to perhaps as high as -8 across parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. So the instability is relatively high. Shear, on the other hand, is relatively marginal. Here's the bulk shear values, and we want to see 35 to 40 values. And yes, we do have some, but the bulk of this is relatively marginal. So it's a low shear, high instability environment instead of some of the other high shear, low instability environments that we've had. Dew points, according to the GFS, are likely to get into the lower 60s as far north as the Tennessee River Valley, and so that does put the low-level moisture into play. And then looking at the NAM very quickly, because I don't have a helicity chart from the GFS, you can see the bottom line there is that, once again, they're not huge values, but they are substantial for severe weather. By Tuesday at midday, 1 p.m., high pressure settles in and everything has shifted out, so it looks like a clearing day for us. Looking back at the upper atmosphere, we get under northwesterly flow on Wednesday, so look for a chilly morning. We could get down to a threat of freezing temperatures Wednesday morning. Thursday morning, perhaps, but the ridge is getting much closer as a new trough is beginning to develop off to the west. And then at the surface, you can see that a surface low over the Texas panhandle on Thursday. By Friday, the trough has dropped into Nebraska, and we are getting a little bit of some vorticity moving through the flow, so that may generate some cloudiness. And then by Saturday, that low has dropped into the vicinity of St. Louis. And with that, of course, we've got at least a little more chance for some showers on Friday and into Saturday. Now, the GFS here is pretty limited on the amount of showers that it's doing and keeping the low pretty far south. The European, on the other hand, has the low a little further north and is a little more aggressive with the amounts of rain that we might see. So right now we're verging into voodoo country here on Friday. So perhaps we'll have to watch that. But in the meantime, we've got to get past Monday. So that's our main concern right now. But certainly looks like maybe next weekend we might have a wet start to it. And going out into voodoo country, we see that on Monday, we do get another chill down as we get a little more of a development of a trough over the eastern half of the country, so at least a little bit of a cool down. The upper ridge builds back in by Friday the 29th, so it looks like much of week 2 is going to be fairly dry, and then we perhaps see a storm giving a glancing blow to the area around the 30th of March because the little shortwave in the western Great Lakes region is pretty far north, so that would be another situation where much of the dynamics are further north. Well, that'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video for this Saturday. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Stay tuned to the blog for the latest updates as we watch the developments of weather for Monday. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
In back-to-back ratings periods,
more people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.